Hi everyone, Buttskulls here. This is an updated build video regarding my Poison Earth Explosion build I posted a couple weeks back on the forums. There have been a couple updates since then. First of all, I've gotten a Rare Scepter instead of Breath of the Council because although the fizz damage is a tiny bit lower in the top end, you have 7.62 crit instead of 6% crit, which allows me to take more advantage of the crit strikes poison toxic delivery passive. And with all power charges up, I reach around 70% crit. I've swapped out a Quicksilver for a Diamond Flask, so I reach effective 91% crit. Besides that, I'm still looking for a Beano's corrupted with Culling Strike, just to make bosses a tiny bit easier, and I'm probably going to be trying Uber at Zeri pretty soon after I level. I just don't want to lose EXP right now. I'm going to be demonstrating a full map clear of Wasteland to just show the effectiveness of increased AoE and Conk Effect together, since there are a lot of questions on the forums about whether it was more effective to have increased critical damage. And I found that the Beano's Prolife radius is pretty crazy in a lot of tile sets. So yeah, this will be a good demonstration of that, hopefully. Oh, 1 second. We got a swap back from a Breachy mission, so that was a bit of a doof on my end. Build involves quite a bit of mobility and dodging shit. Since it's a standardly or softcore builds, you're going to be chunked pretty hard a lot of times, so it's definitely not hardcore viable by any means. I'll explain my passive a bit more after the video, just for a bit more clarification, just to get the snap out of the way first. Also to demonstrate the effectiveness of all this damage on the boss. Alright, here we go. He's dead, so it's pretty easy even on an enfeeble map. Damage is pretty insane, especially with extra crit now. So I might be making an updated core run, maybe even a twin core, just to hopefully abuse all this poison double dipping madness that was introduced this patch, mainly due to enabling 8 Ascendancy points rather than the 6, which allowed Assassin to be pretty broken with crit and poison. There's 14 left. That's pretty much it. I'll just go back to hideout pretty soon just to show what's up with my passes and whatnot, and my jewels as well. So this build grabs like a hybrid between physical and physical damage as well as damage over time. These passives are particularly good for the life regen combined with Golem's Blood and Master of the Arena. You can sustain blood magic on vulnerability like 60% regen maps, although no regen's a bit sketchy. You just need to kill enemies due to Beano's. On killing enemies or poison enemies, you regen 200 life per second. That's more than enough to sustain with a life pool of 5.85k right now. Besides that, just a bit of crit here and there. One frenzy charge. You can grab more, it's up to you. I chose to grab a bit more life. And all my jewels as well have life. And I abuse a lot of the double dipping of poison and bleed with increased damage and increased area damage on my jewels, which is something that I'm going to aim for to upgrade on all my jewels. I'm probably going to YOLO X this later. This jewel I got for a pretty good deal. Although the mods aren't optimal, it's 4 modded and it was corrupted, so I got it for a pretty good price of like 40C. This one, I got a bit of multi since this was around the time when I bought the rare scepter. So the area damage, double dips, max life again, multi, all good stuff. Besides that, not too much extra. I think I'm just going to go into a bit of justification as to why I think Shadow's probably the best class, or Assassin's the best class for this. Force Shaper, gain 5% physical as extra chaos. Toxic Delivery, 20% of physical damage gained as extra chaos damage against bleeding enemies. So this is like 25% extra Fizz as Chaos, and as we all know, Poison scales off both Fizz and Chaos dealt per hit. So when you use Void Heart, what happens is the first hit of your Earthquake will proc the bleed and then cause the second hit to deal all this additional damage, which actually isn't shown in the tooltip. And furthermore, because this is a dual wield build, the tooltip's actually screwed up. So what this tooltip is doing is averaging the damage between the main hand as well as the offhand. And because my offhand is Beano's, and a lot of my, I think some of my nodes might be dealing with maces, the Beano's damage is way, way lower than the mace damage. So it's actually hampering down the DPS, and the DPS should actually be much higher than this. So my estimate, although I haven't done the exact calculations, is that my DPS should be around 80k or so with everything up. And that's not factoring in all that damage over time and using the Rapid Decay support gem. So the effective DPS is pretty crazy, especially because the poison stacks and bosses just melt. Besides that, I think I didn't include this in the updated build tree, but I ended up grabbing Life and Mana Leech and Life Leech just because I swapped out one of my rings, which no longer has Mana Leech. You can refer to the build guide for that. And this just helps you sustain your mana pool in maps. I just chose not to run Grace because it's a pain in the ass to Whirling Blades on, let's see, on 102 mana, with my Whirling Blades costing 20 mana, so I can only have 5, which is pretty painful. Besides that, I haven't really updated my my links that much. I think there's still a lot of room for optimization. I did grab more int, so now I can run level 20 vulnerability. I'm going to get that qualityed up probably later before doing Uber and Ziri. I also got more res in my belt for elemental weakness cap. I haven't quite reached it, but it's close enough. What else? I've also added chaos to my amulet because it scales off poison damage. And I think that's pretty much it. I think the next level I'm probably going to take off these 2 nodes and probably spec into the projectile damage nodes just to get that extra jewel socket for life. I think that pretty much sums it up. If you have any questions, just feel free to send me a question on the forums. I'd be glad to answer any questions regarding this build. And I will update with the final Uber at Ziri run and probably a twin core run and see how that goes.